get tickets every day. And there's like, limited time parking. So it's like 2 hours or 4 hours. And I'm like, we have 8 hour, 8 hour shifts. Like, I can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna go in the middle of this class and go park my car somewhere else. It's wild over there.
I know. That's why I'm working really hard to be more into the political system so that first responders, teachers, even law enforcement. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, that's ridiculous that they have to navigate the idiocracy, not the bureaucracy, but the idiocracy of San Francisco, housing, parking, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. No, it's real. It's very real over there. I think the last ticket I got is probably like September. I mean, it was a quick meeting. I thought I'd be fine. I didn't see any signs. Come outside, and sure enough, they're like street sweeping on this day. And I'm like, dang, they're like, it's so hard to catch all of the signs on on all the times on all the days. It's just
Yeah,
always something.
that part. And I like the ways Oakland has it better. They have sweep, street sweeping every other week here in San
Mhm.
Francisco, even when it's not raining. What you coming to sweep the street for every week when it doesn't need it? You can give them people a break. Like you don't have to spend so much
Right,
money on street cleaning if you just do it every other week.
right, right,
That cut
right.
down on some tickets right there for sure.
Yeah, yeah. They do like first and third Tuesday and stuff like that. Yep. Yeah. So it's definitely it's definitely a battle. Um, how's it doing? How's it going, with Tisha? He's- you know,
Good morning. It's going well. How are you two today?
We're good.
I'm doing good.
Good, we're good.
Yeah, just driving like always. Life
Right.
is full with fools. But yep, just driving on my way to downtown to the Tenderloin. Have a
Mhm.
networking event with the foster care, with all the different CEOs that's a part of the foster care system today.
Uh-huh.
And so it's like a networking event
Nice.
on my way.
Right, right. That's good stuff. Good job at taking advantage of that opportunity to connect with other people.
Yeah, especially in this field. There's so much needed support for the children that you want to make sure that you're connecting with the most authentic people because everyone isn't authentic. And I haven't even been in the work that long, but I can already see a lot of people come in with their own personal experiences, which for
Uh-huh.
me isn't always the best interest of the child. It's just more of this is what I went through. And so um, if I was in control in my life, this is what I would have did then. And a lot of times it's like that, but that's not what's best now for this kid.
Right, right.
So it's good to have all these different voices in there. There
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be a different perspective in the room sometimes.
Right. Right, right. Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I did want to say hi to Nancy. I know Nancy showed up today. How are you doing, Nancy? You know how to unmute yourself. Mm-hmm.
Hi, there's such echo. I can't hear very clearly.
Oh, really? Yeah, I personally I
Yeah,
don't
I
hear
don't
any
know why.
echo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't hear one personally. Do you guys hear any echoes on your end?
No.
No. Any echo for you, William?
Okay, I'm gonna try.
Okay.
I'm gonna try login from my desktop to see if it's different. But carry on and thank you for having me here.
Okay. Sounds good. Good, good. Um, Yeah, so we'll see also if Moses can make it. Um, but yeah, just wanted to. So there's a couple things. One, we put on the calendar, and I will be. I'll send you guys the link. And in fact, Naya, let me know if you can send the link to the chat here for um, the Mega Black meeting at 11:45. What I wanted to do also was show you guys where this idea is even coming from. Because I did talk about last week our discussion with one of our in training with one of the CBO leaders we had in I think it was 2023, the beginning, in which we interviewed Candace Elder, who runs the East Oakland Collective. Let me see if I can possibly pull it up. One second. You are so beautiful. Okay, let me come here. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I will find the exact place on that video in a second. But I did want to bring up a couple things. So one, what was occurring in this particular training that we had a year or so ago was she was explaining to us what the journey was from being working at a nonprofit to starting her own nonprofit, having a grant for this, having a grant for that, and to get through a point where they settled on exactly what they were going to discuss. I'm sorry, rather focus on what issue they were going to address in Oakland. And then after focusing on addressing that issue, exactly how they were going to address that issue. And as time progressed, she said that she really used one to a point that we were making last week was that she really used social media. And she particularly used social media in two different ways. One of which was to engage people on Facebook. So as a friend of hers on Facebook, she would create small gatherings like, hey, me and my friends, we're going to go to this one restaurant and we're all going to hang out over there. We just want to invite anybody that wants to come through. It'll be Friday, whatever it is, she'll announce it. And in those times, they would just discuss some of the things that they were trying to figure out as an organization. But again, it was a very laid back situation, a very chill situation. And not only did she create, did the following on Facebook grow, but you ended up having people that were really engaged in these types of conversations that kept showing up and kept wanting to have these conversations with her and her group. And Time, which was the second thing that she did with the social media, was to show what the work looked like in the street when they began to focus on addressing homelessness here in Oakland. And what she began to say was that what came out of that were people in the community that were aware of what she was doing in the community, even though she had never met them, right? They've never met before, never physically came into contact. However, she began to make a name for herself and her organization on social media in such a way that as time progressed, people began to present opportunities to her. And so these opportunities looked like, we're discussing this amongst these folks. They want us to do some work around the homelessness in Oakland, and you're the person that comes to mind. Yeah, I got that. I think that's Nancy saying that. You're the person that comes to mind. We're doing this as a group, and we thought we would invite you into this conversation, even though we don't know you yet. And so what she then mentioned was the importance of, and I would say usefulness of a coalition. And honestly, I had never heard that term used in these terms of working with other nonprofits. Now, I know that people do work with other nonprofits. I know that we do have partnerships. I know that there are people that will refer people. We refer people to certain nonprofits because they have focuses in the different areas. But she specifically mentioned the coalition in the context of when there is something that a group of people want to address. There's an RFP out there and they say, hey, we want to do this, this, and this. A coalition can go ahead and say, hey, well, let's attack this as a group. Let's approach this RFP as a group. And when we go ahead and submit this, we all have our role in bringing this grant to fruition, bringing this program to fruition, following up, making it happen, and collectively being funded by this grant. Again, that's not something that I've heard of before. It's not something that other speakers that I've brought in had spoken about. And so since that conversation, honestly, which was again back in maybe January 2023, I had been like seeking out and asking people about coalitions. Hey, does anybody know about a coalition? So let me even ask that just to people who are already in the room. Does anyone know of a coalition or is part of a coalition for nonprofit organizations?
Yeah, I work in coalitions. I'm pretty much exactly what you described. I do a lot of work with the United Players in San Francisco, San Francisco Jail Justice Coalition. I got a mural inside of the county jail by being in coalition with them. So,
nice.
Yeah, it actually does allow you to get exposure and to get to know what you do or your organization does, especially when your organization is just one person.
Right. Understandable too with that, right? And so even speaking to that, there is a part where she spoke about it in the infancy, if you will, of her organization, because it did, like you just mentioned, William gave her exposure to not only what other people were doing that she wasn't aware of, who the other players were in the community that were doing similar work or had similar hearts on certain issues. And so with that being said, she got connected pretty fast, which we all know this can be a lonely journey. This allowed it to be more of a connected journey than it would have been had she not been a part of a coalition, or had there not been any coalitions around when she was there. I'm looking at Mwangi's statement. He says, while I worked in the homeless sector, nonprofits always came together and applied for funding together to help their chances of funding, and often they got 100% funded. Right. And so just throwing that out there, right? Acknowledging too, if you will, the power in numbers, the power in teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? Acknowledging that, yes, we can do this in our own power as an organization, and we can do our best to make it happen. But if we did team up with other people doing the same thing, and we all carried our specific loads, and the load wasn't like too big, then not only could we get funded for this particular grant, but we may get funded more because we're approaching it with more manpower, right? We're approaching it with the power of this organization, and that organization, and collectively we can possibly get more coming our way. So I'm definitely glad that came up. I'm also seeing you said that you guys have several. Can you name just a couple, Mwangi? Let me know. Okay. Okay. Right. And that's the new leadership, right? I think it's called New Leadership Council, something like that. Right. Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So definitely, I have heard of them. And so all that to say is that these are opportunities for us to get connected, and do the work that we're trying to do, and not do it in any type of silo, do it, alone, independently. We can not only collectively do the work, but also build friendships, build connections. Oh man, these people do great work. I would love to do more things with them in the future. Let's try to build on that relationship, dedicate more time to it. And so what I do want to do, there is going to be a meeting, and this is what Naya had sent the link for at 11:45 with Make a Black. One of the, again, organizations that I found out that is a coalition in San Francisco. And so I did want us to check it out. And so at 11:45, we'll have the opportunity to log into that. And so I want everybody to get the Zoom link, because I know that we can't log on it collectively. If we did, then it'll be hard for us to speak and stuff. But if people log onto it individually at 11:45, that will create that opportunity to just, again, sit in on the meeting, connect with them. I want to ask too, with the New Leadership Council, or even with the United Players you had mentioned, William, did they meet often? Did they meet on a pretty regular basis? How did the meetings go with them?
Yes, we meet on a regular basis. I represent a lot of their brand. Like, I would wear their T-shirts or wristband and go to events, and then they would ask me to speak. And so at that time, I would tell them who I am, what my organization is and does in coalition with them, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's there are other organizations that I'm a part of that I also meet with, and we have I guess you would say, a unspoken coalition. It's not a formal coalition to where we say, okay, you can bring your organization in and we'll represent it, we'll sponsor it, or we don't have those conversations, but it's an open forum to where I can just speak about the things that I do. And like, for instance, the Harvey Milk Club.
Mhm.
Our organization is not sponsored by the Harvey Milk Club, but the Harvey Milk Club has uh, recruited me to be a part of their club so that I can bring what I have into their club, and they will assist me in the things that I do by
Mhm.
being a part of their club, but it's
Right.
unspoken. We didn't make those agreements.
Right. Right. No, that's good stuff. That's definitely good stuff. Yeah. I know. I wanted to ask, Watisha, have you heard of these coalitions? Have you ever been just in connection with them by chance?
Actually, I haven't, but I would love to.
Hmm. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Well, honestly, I think that that's all the better, right? Because if everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I've done that before," then I'm kind of like, "Oh, I guess nobody needs to hear this." So I'm glad that you haven't to some degree, so that we can connect around it and share that information with you all. Mwangi also wrote, "For coalitions, we begin by creating a memorandum of understanding between nonprofits, for example, with Kijiji Africa and City EMT, etc. We meet every other month." Okay, cool, cool. So yeah, all that to say is that people have different meetings. People have different. I want to say the regular meetings may be monthly. They may be every other month. It may be every week, every couple of weeks, once a month, whatever it is. So all that to say is, when we do find out about these coalitions, just to beware, hey, this they do meet every week at this time or every month around this time. Let me put some of these on my calendar just to get connected with that. This brings to mind our conversation with Diane Diane Gray, in which she talked about the importance of being in the room and just getting into different rooms. And part of it is for people to get familiar with your face, get familiar with what you think, get familiar with what you do and what you're about. Because that's really important with networking. People want to network, but they also want to network with people that they feel like they know. And just being in different rooms lets people know, hey, like, we have a similar interest. I kept seeing you. I see you at this event. I saw you at that event. I'm starting to get an idea that this is the type of stuff that you care about. So since you care about it, let's talk, because we keep running into each other, right? And so it's important to get into these various rooms for the sake of our organization and what we're trying to accomplish with it. And so I think that the coalitions is another opportunity to get into the rooms, especially if the coalitions are their focus is the focus that you have with your organization. Um, and even to that point, it's good, even if their focus isn't, just so that people know, hey, there's someone in the room who's has a different focus than us, but they are nonetheless showing up. And if people have an interest in helping in this particular direction or that particular cause, to get in contact with that person, because they look like somebody who's serious about the work. Um, I'm reading with William Road. I work with Nancy as well as a journalist, cover her events and spread information that benefits our mutual agenda, right? Promoting the unity of Africans, Blacks, and Caribbeans and the diaspora, right? Makes complete sense. You know what I mean? I know I'm sure that him and Mwagi and Nancy are connected, and the work that we are doing as a nonprofit ourselves will put us in some of these rooms and stuff too. And so it's really great that that you guys are connected, have met each other, seen each other before, because that'll definitely help down the line. Um, so again, we do have about 45 minutes. I did want to touch also on what we discussed last week with regard to the social media. One thing that I wanted him to cover more of, that we did discuss when I worked with him personally, Okay. When I worked with Terry personally, I've seen him talk about having a calendar. So one thing he did with us last week is he told us to pick 10 topics that we could talk about on the very subject of what our organization or what our social media page is about. Just pick 10 topics, and then in those 10 topics, we can make videos about all 10 of those things. And so what he mentioned briefly in that conversation was that you can use these 10 topics the whole month. You can use these 10 topics, honestly, the whole year. All you have to do is keep breaking them down and imagining them, but also reusing the same message, the same topic. So he mentioned the importance of saying the same things, as well as the importance of saying different things on the same subject. And I bring that up because I mentioned it was really mind-boggling for me to hear the importance of saying the same things, because I know that the people I follow on Instagram, that's all they talk about is the same thing, right? I mean, there's some variation. One day they may be talking about traveling, the next day they may be talking about fitness. But generally speaking, a traveling page is a traveling page, a fitness page is a fitness page, a comedy page is a comedy page, a nonprofit page is just going to focus on what that nonprofit does. And kind of honestly, I follow them because they're not talking about 1,000 different things. I follow them because I want to be reminded of things that they're talking about. There are some videos that I watch, and I mentioned that to Atisha once, some videos that I watch numerous times just because I want to get it in my head. I'm like, I need to be reminded of this. I heard it, but I know that I'm not feeling it yet, or I heard it, but I know that I'm not doing it yet. And I would appreciate to be reminded. So with that being said, when posting on social media, we don't have to feel the need to have something new every time we post. We don't have to feel the need for it to be completely different every time we post. He used the example of a few different pages where they literally use the same post every single day, and only change one thing about it. But he also used the example of commercials. And if you know, like I know, the commercials that we see on TV are the commercials we always see on TV. I always see Burger King commercials. I always see Progressive commercials. And while I may be like, here goes that commercial again, if it's a good commercial, I don't mind seeing it 30 times because it's hilarious. With that being said, when we do make posts on social media, sometimes we could just recycle the good ones. Just like when we hear a great song on the radio, we don't say, okay, that's a great song, but we don't want to ever hear it again. We go, okay, just don't play it like the only song that you ever play, but just play it every few hours or play it throughout the day. But I don't want, there is no issue with hearing the same song if we love the song. So all that to say is, one, yes, let's post on social media on a regular basis. Don't feel a way about posting the same thing, saying the same thing all over again. It could be a different setting, it could be the same setting. But getting into the routine of posting on social media, I think is one of the hardest things, because it does take concerted effort. It does take a little bit of time. And what he really emphasized when we were with him last week was that it can take only 5 minutes. It can take an hour. It could take 2 hours, but it also can take 5 minutes. We can make a post really fast and really quick if we chose to do that. And what he did want to emphasize to us is that it is nonetheless a good post, even if it's done quickly. It didn't take a lot of time. It didn't take a lot of effort. You didn't have to fix the lighting. You didn't have to like drive across town. You didn't have to have a script. Sometimes the best posts and the posts that get the most views are the ones that are on the fly. They're just off the top of our heads. And in order for it to make it a routine, one thing that he suggests is just setting aside a certain portion of the day where that is what we do. So if it's 30 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, just make sure that we set that time aside, maybe have an alarm on our phone, a place that we go where we make our videos, and just dedicate that 10 minutes or that 5 minutes to making that video that day so that people can become aware not only of our organization, but our message. And that was a really good opportunity too for him to coach us both on our messages, because sometimes we could get in our heads about it. We can take a whole long time about, oh, I wanted to say this, but I don't know how to say it. I want to say this, but what if I say it the wrong way and I offend some people? The reality is that the more that we do things, the more practice we get, the better we get at doing it. And so he actually encouraged us to make the mistakes, to give it a shot, to refine our message, refine our videos, but do it by doing it rather than refining it just by thinking about it and brainstorming and meeting and talking about it, but actually say, hey, I made this video last week. I really liked what I said. This week, I'm going to do the same thing, but I want to change it a little bit because I wish I had added more or taken this out. And so he really emphasized the importance of social media because it exposes thousands and even millions of people to what we do. There are people who have a very small organization, but got great funding because they put their organization on social media and people found it. We never know when people are going to go viral. You never know why exactly a post is going to go viral, but you can't go viral if you don't post it. You're not going to get thousands of followers if you never share. And you're not going to get a lot of funding if you never are on social media to begin with. Now, we can get funding without social media, but to his point, and even to Candace's point, it is an opportunity to get funding, because it's one thing to say, hey, I have a website. We have the about section. We got the donate button. We got, pictures and so forth. And these are the pictures that we took, a year ago, 2 years ago, a few months ago. It's another thing to say, this is what we did yesterday. This is what we're doing today. I am literally at work. We're in the community. We're doing A, B, and C. And this is what we did. And you can scroll week after week. They were over in this part of the city. They did this with the kids. They did this with the adults. They did this with the homeless. They did this. This is who was speaking. This is the message. If people can get access, I want to say, whether it's behind the scenes, whether it's your thoughts while you're on your way to your event, you're taking videos of what you guys were accomplishing. You're maybe talking about some of the struggles of the work, right? Whatever people can see, it gives them a better glance at the reality of your organization and your efforts to be on social media and to share a lot of different things than for us to just write it in a grant. And so one thing that Candace did say was, there were opportunities that came to her organization because of her social media presence, and she didn't have to write the grant. That there were grants that people brought to her and said, we already know we want you to have the money. We just want you in the conversation so that we can figure out how to give it to you. It was not even a question of what is it that you do. They know now. You see it every day. And so she actually had the fortune to be featured on KTVU, right? Channel 2 News. And that also created more exposure. I'm sure there were other things that had like bigger moments that allowed to get more and more followers. But when things like that do happen, you become a part of the conversation without you having to write the grant, right? Without you having to seek out the money. And these opportunities in which she spoke about, was some of these opportunities come because people sought her out. They said, we already know about what you're doing. Come meet with us. We want to talk to you. Tell us what you want to do. We'll write the grant so that you could have the money. which again is a fortunate situation, but it is a fortune that she honestly said it comes from me posting on social media. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Posting on social media. And so she particularly, again, this is her video, so I definitely want you guys to check it out. But in her video, she said that she dedicates about 2 hours to social media each day. And what she said is, and this is stuff that Terry will totally support, which is it's one, to respond to the people that have commented on your videos or commented on your post. Say something, thank you for responding. Just want to say, I'm glad that you noticed this, whatever it may be. So one is responding to people's posts and comments. It's also the time that she sets aside to put together footage to make a video. And another thing that she really mentioned was, and this is something even Terry brought up, was positioning. So he said that I think there were 4 P's. I think there was like purpose, position, personality, and there was one more at least. But position, and what he mentioned was, what she mentioned rather, was that in her experience, what she was doing with her organization in her effort to help fight homelessness was so different, and it was visibly different, that it really got a lot of people's attention. And so it's really important that if we do have a cause that other people are fighting for, or other people are fighting to change things in the community the same way you're doing it, to intentionally portray it in a different light so that people can see it differently, right? If people say, oh man, this is a problem, for instance, there's this group right now in Oakland that I am so blown away by. They have a truck. They have a truck now. And what it does is it's great at compacting trash. So what they'll do is they'll go around the city and they'll pick up all the trash that people have dumped. Now, if anybody's been to East Oakland and lived there long enough, there are certain spaces where people, just throw everything in one. And it's like on the sidewalk, right? It's like right in the middle of the neighborhood, right on the corner. And it's regular. It's not happenstance. It's like it happens every week and almost every night. Mattresses, sofas, clothing, right? Food, garbage, everything right on the sidewalk. And they created, if you will, a program in which they take this truck out and they clean it up and they throw it in the truck compacts it, they go to the next space, and they started recording this. So this is where I get drawn in. I'm sitting there. I know what they are. Heard of them. They do a lot of like self-defense training, and they talk about standing up for the Black community, all this cool stuff. And then they started videotaping this stuff, and he'll be in his truck. It's 10 o'clock at night, videotaping. We're driving down the street right now, and look at all this trash. We came here yesterday and cleaned up this very spot, and we drove by the next day, and it's full again. But I promise you, exactly right. I promise you, we're going to be there tomorrow. And I am like, where do I sign up? Where do I go to just because? And what's the answer? I never see anybody do that. I don't see that. I see that we don't like it. I've seen a park cleanup. I've seen park cleanups. I've seen, cleaning up a certain street. I've seen people clean up at the lake, and that's, when we have like a big event and it's like super dirty afterwards. I've seen that, but I have never seen. And so think about anything that you can do with your social media where you go, this is what we're doing. We're doing this just like everybody else is doing this. But what is something that nobody does that, yes, it needs to be done. And yes, there are people who want to do it, but people aren't actually doing it. What is something that we can do uniquely that will separate what we're doing from other people who are doing similar work? And I think that was one thing that she really stuck on, was that how we are addressing homelessness We do it in a way that nobody who's addressing homelessness addresses homelessness. Like we, and I think she was just saying, like, we are really out there talking with them. We're at the encampments. We're talking with them in the encampments, where a lot of people will say, "Hey, we have a shelter, we have a place," and they come to us. But rarely do you see people walk right over there amidst all of the trash and amidst all of the debris and so forth, and connect with these people right there on their turf. And she said that that is something that drew a lot of people's attention to what we do. So again, all that to say, consider having a unique approach in showing that and showing the ins and outs of it. When he talks about, we pick up this trash and they dump all the trash again and it hurts my feelings, I go, that's real. This isn't this, you're being honest about how it makes you feel. I'm glad you said it, because it affects how we feel about our own city when we see people do this and we don't know who they are and we don't know when they do it. Are they doing it in the morning? Are they doing it at night? All those things come up, and it's a great way. And honestly, I don't know about all the other programs that CRC has. I know that they do have other programs for sure, but I know that this one is getting a lot of attention currently, and I'm sure is getting a lot of donations, because people live in these neighborhoods and they go, we don't have trucks. We can't pick it up if we wanted to, right? We can't do anything with a sofa if we wanted to, but I see them all the time. I see it over here. I see it over there. And it makes us feel, these feelings about living in Oakland, about being from Oakland, about telling people where we're from, things like that. And so unique approach, unique position, have a unique position. And so really just wanted to harp on that. I know Nancy mentioned CRC. Have you connected with them, ever done any type of work with them personally?
Hi, Jermaine. This is Alicia Mayo, actually,
Oh,
and
hey. I can't even see.
Clarity Media. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
as a media founder, I do look at what other folks are promoting on social media, and it helps me to add to my programming on this side of the bridge, on the San Francisco side, so that we're creating that. What's the term that you use? That that
Positioning.
community based was coalition. We're building a
Mhm.
bridge to bridge coalition virtually through our media spaces, and so that's
Nice.
what I'm all about. Yeah. So I
Nice.
appreciate what their work is about, and I found it on social media.
Right. Right, exactly. And so yeah, thanks again for sharing that. Again, I've seen them in person at different events, doing different things. They're usually like dressed in all black, they got sunglasses and turbans, and it's this whole thing. But I definitely didn't see this coming. I think that that's even important to mention too. I didn't know that they were going to clean up the streets, and that they would do that with their time and energy. But I definitely appreciate that they're doing that in the city, especially because we don't know who's doing it. We don't know when they're doing it. We don't know why they're doing it. But we do know that it's happening throughout the city. And so definitely glad that you're also connecting with other folks in a coalition. You said, is there any name for the people that are connecting across the bridge by chance?
Um, when you say name, you mean individuals?
No, like is there a name for the folks that are joining the coalition, or yeah, the coalitions?
No, no. There's no to me. As an independent media producer, I'm kind of one in a million doing my approach, my particular space. So you talked about um, positioning, right? So my position is to actually create coalitions, and then I let folks run with them. I see that happening, Jermaine. I used to have the energy and time to run coalitions and be the coalition builder. Not so much anymore. I would love to see more people getting involved in the media, digital media space like I am. And there are more people involved, and they're coming on board and doing a lot of this digital news and realizing that we can tell our own stories. And so that's the coalition that I've been building, that I've been taking on independently on my own. And I mean, it's not like Bridge Good. Shantai has Bridge Good, which is another coalition type building effort in the digital graphics space. But I think I like the idea of calling my coalition building something, giving it a name, giving it unique um, positioning.
Right. Right. No, that sounds good. And Wang, did you want to raise your hand?
I was actually just going to say that some of the coalitions we've had that maybe with like Nancy and Kijiji Africa or City EMT, we've not actually named them. We usually just put ourselves on the sector itself. So like for example, right now we are really championing issues regarding people of African descent, and that includes Caribbean, it includes South America, it includes African Americans, it includes Africans, and so we'll say this is coalition for people of African descent and purely focus on that. Like we wouldn't name it based on what we do because each of us do separately. Like I deal with technology, education, and arts. She deals with advocacy and economic empowerment. So we will just say it is for the sector that we are actually building and defining.
Right. No, that's good stuff. Yeah, no, honestly, it was news to me when she mentioned it, and so I'm just glad that there's different variations of it all, not just to me too. Like when we were in that room and she brought up the coalitions, we were all looking at each other. We were like, "What is she talking about?" And so she was referring to one that was specifically in Oakland. It's for Oakland, if you will. But the people in the room, we were all like interesting because we're obviously trying to do this alone, right? We're doing this by ourselves. We're doing this, independently. And so I definitely am glad that y'all are aware of it to various degrees and have experience with them already. And that they do show up in different ways, which I could totally imagine too, because sometimes it's official and sometimes it's just like, oh man, I ran into them and they ran into me and we really connected and we just started to kind of build amongst ourselves. And so that makes a lot of sense too, but it really, again, speaks to just the importance of networking, of getting out there, one, doing the work, but then two, meeting other people who are doing the work, and finding ways that we can support one another in our efforts. So definitely glad about that. I think if anything else, I know that Nancy, did you get a chance to get the book from Mwangi from us?
Oh, you know what? I think Monkey, I'm gonna link up. I'm gonna link up with him today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we just we were traveling. We were in Switzerland at the UN convention last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a good meeting. So we've just been busy traveling and
Right. Totally understand. But yeah, definitely want to get that to you all. I know we got one to William last Thursday. For you, Alicia, do you have availability? I would say within the next few days, we could connect even in the East Bay.
Yes. I will email you. Let's talk on the email. But yeah, I do have some time this week. I'm back from Jamaica yesterday, so I'm back for another couple of weeks.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so what I'll also be doing, I tried to order these books already, but I'm struggling with it. So I have to try to order them early next week. But one of the books is Atomic Habits. And this is one also that I got connected about with Terry. And this was really good, speaking to the social media stuff that we were just talking about. because Atomic Habits really is about building habits based on our schedules, and really in a very real sense, constructing our days, constructing our weeks such that it's divided up in a ways that we can deal with all the things we want to, just, piece by piece. And so while I was a part of his program, we got a whole lot out of this book. I think, one, because of the way that it's written, and two, because it's meant to be interacted with, similar to Raya Wong's book, Get That Money Honey. This one has questions, it has prompts, it gives you an opportunity to set up habits, to build on those. And we can check in with each other about those things too. So those are really good too. I'm looking at the statement. We have an event this Saturday that I would like to invite. Cool. Yeah. Do you have a flyer, or you could even just share here too?
Sure. So we've been training young people on leadership, mindfulness, communication, and part of their exercises is they're supposed to present to the community about what they're working on. We use an African-centric interdisciplinary curriculum. So this Saturday, our 15 youth ambassadors will be presenting about each of the countries they've researched, acting like ambassadors. And the event is going to be, I will just share the address here. It will be at 154 7th Street. It starts at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it is like really, it will be really beautiful to have people in that who are in that, youth sector to come and see the kind of work we're doing at Life Foundation with youth on leadership and diplomacy and international relations.
Nice. Right. And what time would that be?
It starts at 11 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, it starts at 11. Youth presentation will start at 11:15. It's almost similar to Model United Nations. I don't know if people here are familiar with that. Model United Nations usually is in schools, really well resourced schools. And what Model United Nations tries to do is to introduce students to the working of the United Nations and really prepare them for careers in international relations, in political science, in public advocacy, and that kind of thing. And what we've done through funding from BSCC is we have combined that Model United Nations, but basically made it specifically for Africa, and really attracted African American young kids who will otherwise not have that kind of an introduction to Africa. And so this Saturday, they will have research for the last 3 months on. They do that every 3 months. They will choose a different country in Africa, research about it, investigate it, write even to the ambassador of that country to ask for additional information, and then come present to their peers about that specific country. And so this Saturday they will be doing that rodeo in the forum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's real nice. But yeah, definitely, if anyone has the time, the means to check that out, definitely encourage that. And honestly, that's something that I definitely want to encourage amongst the folks who are here. I know that just a few weeks ago, Letitia had an event for entrepreneurs, women who are entrepreneurs in San Francisco. And she did have a flyer and stuff like that. And so we definitely want to be able to use this space to share our events with one another, share what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish collectively. And of course, learning from each other, right? Seeing, oh man, that's a really, really nice program, or what you guys are doing is really great. Definitely would love to learn more about how you did it, or how to do something similar. This is my idea, but I don't know how to, whatever it may be. So that's definitely a great opportunity, for us to show support as well. Does anyone else have anything that they know that they have coming up that they want to share with folks as well? Okay, cool. So, what I did want to do is, again, give you all the time to, one, have a little bit of a break, but to hop on to the Make It Black meeting that will be happening at 11:45. I will also be hopping on that as well. And again, the link is here in the chat. I'm gonna see if I can copy it just one more time from the top. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I'll just repost it just for folks who just getting here or didn't see it. But this is for a coalition meeting happening at 11:45 with Make It Black. We will be meeting in person next week. I did reach out to Tavari, and this is based on our conversation I had with Alicia. Tavari will, I reached out to him. I'm still trying to actually get in contact with him. So, but I am trying to get him to come and break down to us some things about QuickBooks because he does work in our fiscal department as one of our accountants. And so we will be trying to get him to break something down with us this coming week, if possible, but if not, definitely in the near future. We also will be having the marketing team coming. This will be early June, but we're just trying to get some ideas for them about what they should speak about. So we'll be talking about that a little bit more in the near future. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions? Because I know we'll leave it just part ways in just a bit. But if anyone has any questions, you can let me know. Okay, cool. So yeah, I know that I hadn't spoke with Nancy. Oh, I didn't get to speak to Watisha this week either, or William. So we didn't get to meet one-on-one this week. Are you guys able to meet tomorrow by chance? We could probably just a small meeting just to touch base with you guys individually, Watisha, William, and Nancy. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'll send out some calendar invites for you guys tomorrow. And then again, just to try to get caught up. And same thing with Alicia. I know that she just got back too. So okay. Understandable too. But yeah, just got back in town. So we'll try to just connect tomorrow. Before next week, and then connect again next week. But yeah, so I will talk with you guys soon. I'll be reaching out with the Google Calendar invites very soon for tomorrow. And yeah, I want to see you guys on the Zoom link that'll start in 18 minutes. And this again, just to get you guys connected, and just for us to all kind of to see what they have going on and how it looks for them to have these weekly Zoom meetings. All right. So you guys have a good one, and I will talk with you guys soon. All right. Thanks again.
See you over in the Zoom.
All right. Have a good one. Awesome.